asked a Labour frontbencher to come onto the programme and to discuss the Chief Rabbi's intervention. Unfortunately, we've had no response in the sense that they have declined. And we are going to speak to the Labour peer, Lord Alf Dubs, shortly. But while we wait for him, Owen, let's return to the substance of the Chief Rabbi's intervention. He's asked every person to vote with their conscience to keep Jeremy Corbyn out of office. Are you reconsidering your support for the Labour Party?
No, but the fact that any Jewish people feel fear or distress or anxiety is something which anyone on the left has to fight to win that trust back. I mean, there are obviously Jewish Labour supporters like Lord Alf Dubs who you'll be speaking to who have a different perspective.
But they are a minority. If you look at the polls, and if you look and listen to Rabbi Jonathan Romain, and if you listen to the Chief Rabbi, all the polls, 87% said that they wouldn't feel safe with Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister.
So in terms of the polls, again, we could discuss polls.
It's a majority. It's a majority.
The truth is, it is absolutely right that there are those who feel fear and anxiety about it. And it is absolutely right that anti-Semitism does exist on the fringe of the left. 0.1% of members mentioned there. But that Labour was too slow at dealing with it, did not take it at speed and with the urgency that it deserved, and that caused that distrust and fear to grow.
But that's process, Owen. That's process, and that has been one of the main complaints from the Jewish community, is that every time these issues are raised, it is met with a generic, we're doing the best we can, we've improved our processes. Why aren't you reconsidering your support for the Labour Party when you are a firm anti-racist?
Because I don't believe the Labour leadership is anti-Semitic. Look, Jewish people have suffered the worst persecution of any minority in history, and there was a collective trauma that every Jewish person feels, that all of a sudden something could turn against them, as it has throughout history, and they will have to leave. And you can't understand that how Jews feel without engaging with that basic issue. It would not be honest of me if I genuinely said to you that I did not think the vast majority of Labour members abhorred anti-Semitism, because I think they do. That I don't think that the Labour leadership abhorred anti-Semitism, because I think they do. But I do think they were too slow at dealing with this issue and not dealing with it empathetically.
So why is there so much anxiety? If you take what the Chief Rabbi has said, he said the Jewish community is gripped by anxiety at the prospect of Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the Labour Party, becoming Prime Minister. Do you think that anxiety isn't justified?
I think it's up to the Labour leadership to win back that trust. I think that's very, very sad. And I know that, the fact is that there are many, without the Jewish people, there would not be the left. Throughout history, Jews have always led a key fundamental role, from Karl Marx to many senior Labour figures in founding socialism as we know it today. That trust has to be won back. The issue is, and this is important to talk about, and we have to, look, there's no point about talking about anti-racism unless you're a consistent anti-racist. And he spoke, the Chief Rabbi, correctly about whether or not a politician's relationship to prejudice disavows him from high office. We have to be consistent about the fact that we do have a government, the Conservative Party, which supports Hungary's anti-Semitic regime and has voted to defend it, which the Muslim Council of Britain today has issued a statement condemning. Saeed Abbasi, the most prominent Muslim female politician, has condemned the Islamophobia from the bottom to the top, where the Prime Minister himself has compared Muslim women to letterboxes and magazines.
We're going to talk about this with our Conservative representative later on in the programme, including the comments from the Muslim. But this feeds into a suspicion in the Jewish community that it is easier and more convenient to deflect attention away from what may be going on inside the Labour Party and the leadership's decision to, in their mind, cast aside. It's worth sacrificing the Jewish community on the altar of the Jeremy Corbyn project because they've been anti-racist all their life. And that generic statement is no longer enough.
I think I've written more articles confronting left-wing anti-Semitism than virtually any other subject.
We're talking about the Labour leadership that you support.
Right, of course, but look, the Labour leadership, the Labour left, include leaders like John Lansman, a proud Jewish man who founded Momentum.
And whom we can never ever get to come onto the programme. And viewers must ask, why not? Why can we never hear from some of the front bench on a day like this? I've contacted John Lansman, the founder of Momentum, the Jewish founder of Momentum. He doesn't respond.
I can't speak on behalf of John Lansman. Your media engagement with John Lansman. But all I would say is this. This is a discussion which needs to be led by Jewish people. That's why it's important you've got Lord Alf Dubs. You've got Lord Alf Dubs coming on to speak about it. What I would say is, again, that the fact that there are Jewish people in this country who feel that distress is something that everyone on the left needs to think about and fight, renew their vows to fight anti-Semitism. And yes, the Labour leadership was too slow. It didn't show enough empathy for the distress that Jewish people felt, and it needs to work to do that more. I think they have done more, a lot more. They've accelerated the process, but I still think that so many Jewish people still feel that hurt and anger, and more has to be done. We do have to talk about anti-racism in a consistent fashion, and there has not been that. There's been a
but as you have admitted, this hasn't been dealt with. Ian Birrell, on the idea of empathy, one of the biggest complaints is that process is always